There are moments in life when the world seems to dim around you. Not suddenly, not like a switch turning off, but slowly, quietly, almost without warning. One day you realize the things that once gave you joy feel distant. The path ahead looks unfamiliar. Your heart feels heavier than you expected. And the night feels longer than it should. Dark times rarely arrive loudly. More often, they slip in like a shadow at dusk, unnoticed until you're already surrounded. Perhaps you've felt it recently. The quiet weight of uncertainty, the sharp ache of disappointment, the constant battle in your mind, the silence of God when you wish He would speak. And maybe, in the privacy of your own thoughts, you've wondered, where is Jesus in all of this? Why can't I feel His presence the way I used to? Why does the night feel so endless? But what if I told you the light of Jesus is not limited by the darkness around you? What if I told you His presence does not wait for the morning to appear? It shines in the nighttime, in the unspoken fears, in the unseen battles, in the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. The light of Christ has never depended on perfect conditions. It was born in a stable, revealed in a world full of chaos, and offered to people who walked through their own shadows. And today, that same light continues to move toward you, not waiting for you to be strong, not requiring you to be fearless, not expecting you to have everything under control, but meeting you exactly where you are. Even in your darkest times, Jesus is still the light that knows how to find you. There are seasons when you don't see the light immediately. Not because it isn't there, but because your eyes are still adjusting from the brightness of what used to be. Sometimes darkness is not a punishment. Sometimes it is the place where God teaches you to recognize His light in deeper, quieter ways. In the light, you see the world clearly. But in the dark, you learn to see Jesus clearly. Darkness does not intimidate Him. He does not hesitate to enter the shadows of your life. He does not back away from your uncertainty, your doubts, your fears, your pain. Instead, He steps into them, gently, intentionally, faithfully, bringing with Him a light that does not flicker and a hope that does not expire. But the light of Jesus is not always a sudden burst. Sometimes it is a slow dawn, a soft glow at the horizon of your soul, growing brighter as you learn to trust again. It might appear in a moment of unexpected peace, or through a scripture that resonates differently than it did before, or in a memory that reminds you God has carried you through darkness before, or in a simple whisper inside your spirit that says, I am still here. The presence of Jesus does not depend on how you feel. His light is not conditional. He is not close one day and far the next. He is steady, the same light that led shepherds to Bethlehem, the same light that broke through the tomb, the same light that reaches into the hidden corners of your heart, even now. And perhaps the reason your night feels so heavy is because the light that's coming will be brighter than anything you've seen before. Dark seasons often precede divine revelation. The deepest nights often produce the strongest dawns. The hardest battles often prepare you for the clearest direction. And even now, while you stand in the uncertainty of your own story, Jesus is walking ahead of you, carrying a light that cannot be extinguished. You may not see the full path yet, but you are not meant to. In dark times, God does not reveal tomorrow. He reveals Himself. And that is enough. There is a moment in every person's life when darkness stops being something out there and becomes something you feel inside. It isn't always caused by tragedy. Sometimes it's the slow erosion of hope, a dream delayed one too many times, a prayer you thought would be answered by now, a relationship that slipped away quietly, a future that no longer looks like what you imagined. Dark times are often born from quiet disappointments. You begin to notice it in small ways at first, the way you sigh without meaning to, the way your mind drifts toward worry, the way your joy feels muted, the way your steps feel heavier. It's not that you stopped believing in God, it's that life did not unfold the way you thought it would. And that gap between expectation and reality can feel like a kind of darkness on its own. But here is something most people never realize. The light of Jesus is not brightest when life is perfect. It is brightest when life is uncertain, because it is in uncertainty that you discover His consistency. It is in your weakness that you discover His strength. It is in your silence that you hear His whisper. It is in your confusion that you see His guidance. It is in your darkness that you find His light. Sometimes you cannot see where God is taking you, because He is teaching you to walk by trust, not by sight. Not as punishment, but as preparation. For some people, Jesus reveals Himself in miracles, moments where the impossible becomes possible. For others, He reveals Himself in peace, a calm that makes no sense based on what you're facing. And for many, He reveals Himself in the resilience He places inside you, the kind that keeps you moving when you don't even know how you're still standing. Dark times do not always disappear quickly, but even when the night lingers, the presence of Jesus lingers with it. You may not feel Him the way you once did, but feelings are not the measure of His nearness. Lights are not brightest when they sit beside other lights. They are brightest when the room is dim. Your darkness is not evidence that Jesus has left you. Your darkness is evidence that His light is about to reveal something you haven't seen yet. Sometimes God allows you to see the night, so you learn to recognize the stars. There is a story being written inside the parts of your life you don't understand yet. A story of resilience, a story of renewal, a story of rediscovered hope, a story of Jesus doing what only He can do, bringing beauty out of brokenness and purpose out of pain. You may feel like you're walking through a season without direction, but God never leaves His children wandering. Even when you feel lost, you are being led. There is a reason your story is unfolding slowly. There is a reason doors didn't open yet. There is a reason things didn't happen sooner. There is a reason you are still here, still breathing, still pressing forward, still fighting, still listening for God in the quiet. Your life is not stalled. It is being shaped. Your purpose is not gone, it is being refined. Your future is not dark, it is being rebuilt. Because the light of Jesus does not simply chase darkness away, it transforms what the darkness tried to destroy. And long before you see it, that transformation has already begun. There is a kind of darkness that arrives quietly, not in the form of catastrophe, but in the form of emptiness. A feeling that something inside you dimmed without your permission. You sense it when you scroll through your day without truly feeling present. You sense it when you wake up, but your spirit feels tired before the morning even begins. You sense it when you laugh, but something inside you feels strangely disconnected. These are the moments when people often assume Jesus has stepped back. But what if these are the moments when He is actually drawing nearest? Because it is in these quiet, hollow places that His voice becomes clearer. Not louder, but clearer. You may not hear Him the way you expect. Not in booming revelation, not in angelic visions, not in thunder breaking the sky. Often He speaks in the stillness, in the breath you didn't realize was calming, in the thought that gently steadies your heart, in the sudden memory of his past faithfulness, in the urge to hope again, even when your circumstances haven't changed. The light of Jesus doesn't always burst into your life like sunrise. Sometimes it comes like moonlight, soft, steady, refusing to disappear even when the world around you is dark. There is a beauty to moonlight. It doesn't expose everything. It reveals just enough. It guides your steps without overwhelming your eyes. It reminds you that even without the sun, you're still held by the same Creator who commands both day and night. Jesus often shines this way in dark times. He doesn't show you everything. He shows you just enough to keep your soul from collapsing, to keep you steady when your emotions feel fragile, to keep you walking when you want to stand still. Sometimes the miracle is not that the darkness ends, but that His light continues even while the darkness remains. And in these moments, you begin to notice small evidences of His nearness, a verse that speaks exactly to your heart, a conversation that comforts you unexpectedly, a moment of laughter you didn't see coming, an opportunity that opens when you're least prepared for it, a strength that rises inside you even though nothing around you has improved yet. These are not coincidences. These are breadcrumbs of grace, signs that Jesus is walking with you, piece by piece, moment by moment, step by step. Dark times make most people withdraw, but Jesus moves closer. He leans in. He pays attention to every tremble of your soul. He notices the fear behind your silence. He sees the tears that form but don't fall. He understands the battles no one knows you're fighting. And while the world sees only the darkness, Jesus sees the potential of what the darkness is shaping inside you. He sees the deeper compassion being formed. He sees the strength you don't yet recognize. He sees the faith growing quietly beneath the surface. He sees the endurance being built one breath at a time. He sees the future breakthroughs being prepared through this very season. The night feels long, but not pointless. The silence feels heavy, but not empty. The uncertainty feels overwhelming, but not wasted. In your darkest moments, Jesus isn't waiting for you on the other side of your pain. He is sitting with you inside it. He is whispering reassurance into the hollow parts of your heart. He's reminding you through subtle, sacred moments that you are not walking blindly. You are walking with Him. And when you look back one day, you may be surprised to discover that the darkest parts of your journey were the places where His light shone the most gently, the most intimately, the most powerfully. For darkness does not hide you from Jesus. Darkness reveals how deeply He loves you. There is something mysterious about the way God works through darkness. We often pray for instant light, instant answers, instant relief. But some of the most profound transformations do not happen in the brightness of clarity. They happen in the quiet shadows of uncertainty. Because there are truths your soul can only learn when the world grows dim around you. When things are bright, you rely on what you can see. But when things are dark, you begin to rely on the one you cannot see, yet who has been with you all along. Darkness is not always a sign of defeat. Sometimes it is the atmosphere where revelation grows. Think about the seed buried beneath the soil. It cannot grow in the sunlight immediately. It must first sit in darkness, hidden, buried, still, unseen by everyone, until the moment God's timing calls it to rise. You may feel buried right now. Buried by stress, buried by disappointment, buried by unanswered prayers, buried by life not going the way you hoped. But being buried and being planted feel exactly the same at first. The difference is revealed in time. Darkness often convinces you that nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, beneath the pain, beneath the confusion, something is forming that light could not have shaped. Roots don't grow in sunlight. They grow in hidden places. Strength doesn't form in comfort. It forms in pressure. Faith doesn't deepen in clarity. It deepens in nights when you cannot see the way forward. There are things Jesus is doing inside you that require darkness for a season, so his light can shine through you for a lifetime. It is in the dark that you learn to listen differently. You begin to distinguish between your fears and God's whisper, between your doubts and God's truth, between the voice of anxiety and the voice of Jesus calling you gently back to him. The world teaches you to fear the night, but Jesus teaches you to discover him in it. You learn to walk more slowly, more intentionally, more prayerfully, more dependent on his guidance. In the daylight, you could run ahead. In the darkness, you learn to match his pace. Light reveals what is around you. Darkness reveals what is within you. Your resilience, your endurance, your capacity to trust, your ability to wait, your willingness to surrender. But most importantly, darkness reveals the constancy of Jesus. There is a moment, often subtle, often quiet, when you begin to realize the darkness is not the place where God abandoned you. It is the place where he is forming something new. It may be compassion you never had before, or wisdom you didn't know you needed, or strength you didn't know you possessed, or faith that is deeper, quieter, and more unshakable than you ever imagined. We think light is only about brightness, but sometimes the deepest light you'll ever know comes not from escape, but from presence. The presence of Jesus holding you steady when everything else feels uncertain. The night is not your enemy. It is the backdrop against which your Savior's light becomes unmistakable. And sooner or later, you begin to see something you didn't see at first. This season is not ending you. It is shaping you. It is stretching you. It is preparing you. It is strengthening you. It is setting you apart for something greater. Jesus is not leading you into the dark. He is leading you through it. And the light on the other side will make sense of everything that didn't make sense before. There are places inside you that even the people closest to you never see. Places where your heart has cracked quietly over time. Places where unspoken fears collect like dust in the corners of your soul. Places where disappointment has left shadows that you never fully addressed because life required you to keep moving. These are the places where Jesus brings his light most gently, not with force, not with urgency, not with pressure, but with a kind of tenderness that speaks directly to the fractures of your heart. The world often tells you to stay strong, to keep smiling, to hide the weakness, to bury the pain beneath distractions, responsibilities, or forced positivity. But Jesus is not drawn to the mask you wear. He is drawn to the wounds underneath it. He is not moved by your performance. He is moved by your honesty. He does not look for perfection in you. He looks for openness. The parts of your life you think are too broken, too messy, too confusing, too heavy to bring before God, those are the exact places where his light longs to enter. Because darkness doesn't just surround your life. Sometimes it settles inside it. Darkness can look like emotional exhaustion. It can look like losing interest in things you once loved. It can look like waking up with a heaviness you don't understand. It can look like trying your best every day, but feeling like the progress is invisible. And when life becomes this quiet kind of difficult, you may be tempted to pull away from God, not because you stopped believing, but because you feel too tired to try. Yet this is the very moment when Jesus comes closest. Not demanding, not scolding, not disappointed, just present. You don't have to chase him. You don't have to impress him. You don't have to pray perfect words. You don't have to pretend you're okay. His light does not require you to stand tall. It meets you where you kneel. His comfort does not require strength. It flows into the places where strength has run out. His peace does not require clarity. It settles in the middle of your confusion like a warm blanket over a restless soul. And his presence does not wait for you to get your life together. It enters the room where you are breaking and whispers, "I am here." This is what makes the light of Jesus different from every other source of hope in the world. It doesn't demand you be unbroken. It doesn't wait for you to feel worthy. It doesn't shine only when life is easy. The light of Jesus specializes in the moments you feel most fragile. It moves into the cracks, brightening the places that fear darkened, the places shame silenced, the places grief has been carrying too long. And slowly, sometimes so slowly you don't notice it at first, your heart begins to breathe again. Not because the circumstances changed, but because you're no longer walking through them alone. When Jesus enters your brokenness, you begin to feel something unexpected, a quiet hope growing like a flicker in the corner of your soul. It doesn't erase the pain immediately, but it shifts something inside you. It reminds you that brokenness is not the end of your story. Because where the world sees something falling apart, Jesus sees something being rebuilt. Where you see ruin, he sees foundation. Where you see emptiness, he sees room for something new. Where you see failure, he sees formation. And where you see darkness, he sees a canvas ready for his light. There are seasons when life feels like a maze, a twisting path with no clear direction, no visible exit, no certainty about what the next turn will reveal. You pray for clarity, but the answers seem delayed. You pray for peace, but your thoughts run faster than your faith. You pray for direction, but every road ahead feels equally uncertain. And in these moments, you may begin to wonder if you're moving in circles, if you're making progress at all, or if you're just trying to survive each day. But here is something the world rarely teaches you. Jesus does some of his greatest work not by showing you the full path, but by giving you just enough light for the next step. We often want a map. We want guarantees. We want to know exactly how things will unfold. But Jesus rarely offers blueprints. He offers companionship. Because he understands something we forget. If you saw the entire journey all at once, you might try to walk it without him. So he reveals your path gradually, one moment at a time, one step at a time, one small miracle at a time. His light is not a spotlight exposing everything. It is a lantern guiding you through your uncertainty with quiet faithfulness. This is how he teaches you trust. Not instantly, but gradually, intimately, deeply. Every time you take a step without knowing what comes next, your trust grows. Every time you choose to believe when doubts whisper, your spirit strengthens. Every time you surrender control you never had, your soul becomes steadier. Jesus doesn't always change your situation first. He changes the way you walk through it. And that is how he turns dark times into sacred ground. You begin to see things you never noticed before. The way he sends people at the right moment. The way peace arrives when anxiety rises. The way doors open only after you let go of the ones that shut. The way strength appears when weakness tries to take over. None of these are coincidences. They are evidence of His guiding light. You may not understand why certain things happened, the disappointment you didn't ask for, the delay you didn't expect, the change that came without warning, the healing that hasn't arrived yet, the answers that seem overdue. But Jesus is not leading you randomly. He is leading you purposefully. There are things He withheld because they would have pulled you away from Him. There are things He delayed because you weren't ready to carry them yet. There are things He allowed because they shaped you in ways comfort never could. And there are things He is preparing for you that require the very path you are walking now. This is the paradox of faith. Sometimes the road that feels the most uncertain is the road that is most aligned with God's plan. Dark times do not always come to break you. Often they come to build you, to deepen your dependence on Jesus, to soften the parts of your heart that hardened under pressure, to expand your compassion for others, to awaken parts of your soul you didn't know were asleep. And while you navigate the unknown, Jesus walks ahead of you like a gentle light that will never let you stumble beyond His reach. Even when you don't know where you're going, you can trust the one who does. He has already walked the roads you fear. He has already seen the outcomes you worry about. He has already prepared the path that leads you to peace. You don't need to see the whole journey to walk it confidently. You just need to know who is walking with you. And Jesus, the light of the world, the one who calms storms, the one who breaks chains, the one who resurrects what seems dead, is walking with you now. Not from a distance, not conditionally, not temporarily, but faithfully, unwaveringly, lovingly, perfectly. His light will get you through what you don't understand. His light will reveal what the darkness tried to hide. His light will lead you exactly where you're meant to be. There are moments in life when your emotions become so tangled that you cannot express them in words. You sit quietly, unable to fully explain what's happening inside you, not to friends, not to family, and not even to yourself. It's a strange kind of heaviness. Not dramatic, not loud, but persistent. A weight that presses gently but steadily on your spirit. These are the moments when you fear Jesus won't understand, because even you don't understand. But the light of Jesus does not need perfect prayers or eloquent words or well-formed thoughts. His light speaks directly to the places where language fails. He sees the tension in your shoulders before you acknowledge it. He hears the trembling in your breathing before you realize you're holding back tears. He notices the fatigue in your soul before you call it exhaustion. And in these silent, unspoken moments, He draws near with a different kind of light. Not a light that explains, but a light that understands. Most people think of light as something that reveals, but the light of Christ also embraces. It surrounds the wordless parts of your heart and says, "You don't need to explain, I already know." Some of the deepest prayers you ever pray are prayers without sound. A sigh counts as a prayer. A moment of stillness counts as a prayer. A thought whispered only inside your heart counts as a prayer. And Jesus responds to each of them with compassion. There are layers within you, layers of past pain, layers of unprocessed grief, layers of hopes buried long ago, layers of fears you pretend are not there. Most people never see these layers, but Jesus sees all of them with love, not judgment. He sees the version of you that cries quietly at night. He sees the version of you that smiles in public but struggles in private. He sees the version of you that tries to be strong for everyone else. He sees the version of you that is tired of pretending. And His light doesn't shame these places. It heals them. There is nothing inside you that Jesus turns away from. There is nothing He avoids. There is nothing He finds too messy, or too complicated, or too embarrassing. He steps into every corner of your heart, the places you show the world, and the places you keep hidden. And when his light meets your silence, something sacred happens. He begins to interpret your heart better than you ever could. He understands the questions beneath your questions. He understands the fears beneath your frustration. He understands the longing beneath your sadness. He understands the strength beneath your weakness. You do not need to come to him in perfect emotional order for his light to shine. You only need to come to him. Many people believe they must get it together before they turn back to God. But Jesus specializes in meeting you exactly where you unravel. He does not wait for you to sort out your emotions. He sits with you inside your confusion. He doesn't wait for your tears to dry. He draws closer when they fall. He doesn't avoid your doubts. He listens to them and gently replaces them with truth. His light does not pressure you. It gives you space to breathe. It is the only light in existence that does not demand anything from you in order to shine. You don't have to perform. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to fix yourself. Jesus does not need your perfection to be your peace. His light speaks to the places your words cannot reach. And slowly, in moments you barely notice, you find yourself breathing a little easier, thinking a little clearer, standing a little taller, hoping a little deeper. Not because everything around you changed, but because something inside you did. That something was his light touching the wordless parts of your soul with a love that cannot be explained but can always be felt. There are seasons when life feels like a weight you were never designed to carry. You wake up tired. You move through the day on autopilot. You fall asleep exhausted but unfulfilled. And somewhere in the middle of it all, you begin to feel powerless. Like life is happening to you instead of happening with you. This is the kind of heaviness that doesn't always break you suddenly. It wears you down slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Maybe you've been carrying responsibilities that stretch you thin. Maybe you've been trying to stay strong for people who don't understand the cost. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough that feels overdue. Maybe you've been battling thoughts you never wanted to face. Or maybe you no longer feel like you have the energy to be the version of yourself you once were. And yet, in this fragile, vulnerable place, something sacred begins to happen. You start to feel a strength that isn't yours. Not a burst of adrenaline, not a moment of forced positivity, not an emotion you manufacture. Something deeper, something quieter, something holy. A strength that feels like it rises from beneath your weakness. A peace that feels like it slips beneath the chaos. A resilience that surprises you because you didn't create it and you didn't expect it. This is the light of Jesus lifting you in ways you cannot explain. Because the presence of Christ does not just comfort, it empowers. It grows courage in the places fear tried to occupy. It builds hope in the places disappointment tried to destroy. It shapes purpose in the places pain tried to empty. Jesus does not simply walk beside you. He strengthens you from within. It's the kind of strength that shows up when you say, "I can't do this anymore," yet you somehow do. It's the kind of strength that appears when you whisper, "I feel so alone," yet you find yourself standing back up. It's the kind of strength that rises in the middle of your breaking, not after it. And it's this strength, this unexplainable, undeniable, holy strength, that becomes your evidence that the light of Jesus is working even when your world feels dim. You see, powerlessness is not the sign that God has abandoned you. It is an invitation for His power to fill the places your own strength cannot reach. The Bible says, "In your weakness, my strength is made perfect," not improved, not increased, perf. Meaning, your weakness is not a liability in God's presence. It is the doorway through which His strength enters your life. This changes everything. It means your exhaustion does not disqualify you from God's help. It draws it. Your confusion does not push Jesus away. It pulls Him closer. Your inability to fix everything does not disappoint Him. It reminds Him that you need Him, and He comes quickly to those who call, even when the calling is just a quiet, "Lord, I'm tired." Jesus does not expect you to power through life alone. He does not ask you to be invincible. He does not demand perfection. He asks for something much simpler: honesty. Tell Him when you're overwhelmed. Tell Him when you're afraid. Tell Him when you can't see a way forward. Tell Him when you feel too weak to stand, because His light always moves toward honesty. And when it touches the fragile places inside you, your spirit begins to rise, not because the darkness suddenly disappears, but because the one who carries the light is now carrying you. You begin to walk differently. You begin to breathe differently. You begin to hope differently. You begin to see your circumstances not through the lens of your own limitations, but through the lens of His limitless strength. This is why many people look back and realize that their darkest seasons were the times when they became strongest. Not because of anything they did, but because of everything He carried. For when you reach the end of yourself, you reach the beginning of His power. And that is the moment Jesus becomes not only the light around you, but the strength within you. There comes a point in every dark season when the battle is no longer just around you. It is within you. It's the moment when the darkness begins whispering not about your circumstances, but about your identity. You're not strong enough. You're not chosen. You're not loved. You're failing. You're falling behind. You're not who you used to be. These whispers don't shout. They erode, quietly, slowly, relentlessly, until you begin questioning not just your situation, but yourself. This is why Jesus doesn't only shine light on your path. He shines light on your identity. Because the greatest danger of dark times is not that you lose your way. It's that you forget who you are. You forget that you are chosen. You forget that you are loved. You forget that you belong to someone who never changes, never leaves, never lets go. Darkness tries to tell you that you are alone, but Jesus reminds you that you are His. Darkness tries to convince you that your story is over, but Jesus whispers that it has barely begun. Darkness tries to define you by your mistakes, your fears, your weaknesses, your failures. But Jesus defines you by His sacrifice, His love, His grace, His truth. And His truth does not bend to the weight of your circumstances. When Jesus looks at you, He does not see someone lost. He sees someone worth pursuing. He does not see someone broken beyond repair. He sees a heart He is healing piece by piece, with divine patience. He does not see someone too weak to continue. He sees someone He is strengthening in ways you cannot see yet. He does not see someone defined by darkness. He sees a child of light walking through a temporary night. You are not who the darkness says you are. You are who Jesus says you are. You are loved on your worst days just as much as on your best. You are worthy even when the world overlooks you. You are chosen even when you feel forgotten. You are protected even when danger surrounds you. You are guided even when life feels like a maze. You are growing even when you feel stuck. You are seen even when your tears fall silently. You are held, even when you feel like you're slipping. Jesus knows how to speak to your identity in ways darkness never can. He reminds you of strength you forgot you had. He reminds you of purpose that still beats quietly in your chest. He reminds you that the story he is writing cannot be undone by. And slowly, so slowly you don't even notice at first, your posture begins to change. Your shoulders lift, your breathing steadies, your spirit stands up a little straighter. Not because the darkness has vanished, but because truth has awakened inside you. The truth that you are more loved than you feel, stronger than you know, and closer to breakthrough than you realize. Darkness tries to take your identity, but the light of Jesus hands it back to you, not as the world defines you, but as heaven sees you. A child of God, a carrier of light, a survivor of storms, a conqueror through Christ, a soul worth dying for, a life worth restoring, a story worth continuing. The world may call you many things, some good, some cruel, some completely untrue. But none of those words hold the power of the voice that spoke the universe into existence and still chooses to speak life into you. You are who he says you are, and nothing, not darkness, not fear, not failure, not circumstances, can take that from you. Some battles in life are visible. People can see them. They can point to them. They can understand them. But the battles that shape you the most are often the ones no one sees. The battle to get out of bed when your mind feels heavy. The battle to find hope when the future feels blurred. The battle to stay kind when the world feels harsh. The battle to trust God when nothing makes sense. The battle to keep believing when your prayers seem unanswered. These battles happen quietly, behind the surface of your smile, beneath the weight of your responsibilities, inside the silence of your thoughts. And because no one sees them, you sometimes feel like you're fighting alone. But Jesus sees every invisible battle with perfect clarity. He sees the moments you hold yourself together when everything inside you feels like breaking. He sees the courage it takes to keep showing up when you feel like you have nothing left to give. He sees the faith it requires to pray again after yesterday's disappointment. He sees the strength it takes to keep believing when the evidence around you doesn't change. And he does not overlook a single moment of it. The light of Jesus shines differently over these internal battles. Not like lightning, not like fireworks, not like something dramatic. His light arrives as endurance. It arrives as clarity. It arrives as inner strength. It arrives as unexpected peace when anxiety tightens its grip. It arrives as a soft voice that says, "Try again. Don't give up. I'm still with you." Jesus does not measure victory the way the world does. The world celebrates loud victories, the promotions, the breakthroughs, the achievements. But heaven celebrates quiet victories too, the kind no one else notices. The victory of choosing hope when bitterness felt easier. The victory of forgiving when holding a grudge felt justified. The victory of praying when discouragement said not to. The victory of getting up after you fell again. The victory of trusting God when fear screamed its loudest. These victories may seem small, but in the kingdom of God, they are monumental, because every time you fight a silent battle and choose faith over fear, light over darkness, trust over doubt, you grow stronger. Not in a visible, dramatic way, but in the deep, foundational places of your soul. Jesus sees this growth. He celebrates it. He strengthens it. He builds on it. Some seasons are not about defeating a giant. They are about enduring the night until dawn breaks. And in these seasons, the light of Jesus does not simply guide, it carries. It carries your weary heart when your courage runs thin, It carries your mind when your thoughts become too heavy. It carries your spirit when you feel emotionally drained. It carries your hope when circumstances don't improve. It carries your purpose when you forget why you started. This carrying is gentle, so gentle that you don't always notice it. But if Jesus ever let go of you for even a moment, you would feel the difference immediately. He carries you with a strength that never weakens, a love that never wavers, a patience that never runs out. You may not see progress yet, but that doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Sometimes the greatest progress is learning to rest in the one who fights for you. Sometimes the greatest growth is choosing to breathe again when anxiety tells you not to. Sometimes the greatest victory is simply refusing to give up before the miracle arrives. Your invisible battles are not invisible to Jesus. He is in every one of them. He is fighting with you, strengthening you, guarding you, lifting you, and guiding you toward a future that is brighter than you can imagine. You are not losing this battle. You are learning how to win it with Him. And now, as this time together draws to a close, I want you to breathe slowly, gently, without forcing anything. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your mind rest for a moment. Let your heart settle into a softer rhythm. Because you've walked through some deep truths today. You've journeyed through your own darkness, your own questions, your own pain, your own quiet battles. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you can sense something beginning to shift. Not necessarily around you, but within you. A small glow, a steady warmth, a gentle presence. That is Jesus. And He has been here the entire time. You may not have noticed it at first. You may have doubted it at times. You may have wondered whether He heard your prayers or understood your fears or saw your tears. But He did, and He does, and He always will. Because the light of Jesus does not flicker when life gets dark. It does not fade when your faith feels weak. It does not die. His light remains, steady, constant, faithful, unchanging. Your circumstances will shift. Your emotions will rise and fall. Your seasons will come and go. But the presence of Christ is the one thing that will hold every part of you together. He is the light in your confusion. He is the anchor in your storm. He is the hand that lifts you when you stumble. He is the peace that finds you when you cry alone. He is the strength that enters when yours runs out. He is the love that will never let you go. And whether your life feels noisy or silent, bright or dim, steady or uncertain, His light is strong enough to guide you. There will be more days ahead, days of laughter, days of clarity, days of answered prayers, days when peace feels natural again, days when joy returns like sunshine after a long winter. But even before those days arrive, you already have something powerful. You have Jesus. And that is enough. So as you step back into your life, into your responsibilities, into your world, carry this truth with you. You are not walking alone. You never were. You never will. The light of Christ goes before you, stands beside you, covers you, strengthens you, and lives within you. May His peace surround you. May His hope sustain you. May His love restore you. May His light guide you through every valley and into every blessing still waiting for you. And when life feels dark again, as it sometimes will, remember this. Darkness does not mean God is gone. It simply means His light is about to shine in a brand new way. You are held. You are loved. You are seen. You are carried. And you are never, ever alone. Amen.